Alex Timber, scenic designer David Corns, costume designer William Long, lighting designer Kenneth Posner, sound designer Peter Heletsky, projection designer Peter Negrini, puppet designer Michael Curry, special effects designer Jeremy Chernick, illusion designer Michael Weber, hair and wig by Charles G. Lapointe, and makeup by Joe DeLude. And they all took inspiration from Tim Burton, who, yes. The whole original Beetlejuice, everything when Tim Burton does, it feels like it's a DIY, like made it in his basement kind of thing, and that translated to stage, and that translated to the movie, and basically, and we're going to talk about this, we're talking about the TikTok, and the cosplay, and the fan art, and everything that makes this so accessible, which I think is part of the DIY aspect. So, please help me welcome everyone to the stage so we can get this going! Callie Goff next to me, who is the senior creative director at Spotco. Jenny Gersten, who is the line, oh, she's down there, line producer for Beetlejuice, of course, Leslie Kritzer. Alex Brightman. And Miss Kerry Butler. So the visuals are layered over an extremely relatable, heartfelt story, and they're told in a very specific kind of comedic tone, and have struck a chord, obviously, with audiences. I mean, look how many people are standing here. So, audience, raise your hand if you've seen it 3 times. 3 times? 3? Okay, 5 times. Well, keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. That's 5 or more. 5 or more. 8 or more?
Our lead producer's raising his hand.
15 or more? Anybody? How many times have you seen it? 15 times? Wow, anybody seen more than that? 20 times. Wow. Wow, that's incredible. This is some... Yeah, everybody gets a sandwich. Look under your chair. Just kidding. Kerry, have you seen this sort of interaction in your past shows, like the audience participation like this?
I have been in shows where people go crazy and come back again and again. The difference that with Beetlejuice, I feel like, is the response when we're in the show now. It's deafening. Like, it's almost like I want to plug my ears because it's a lot of it's a gift. But it's crazy loud. Like, they just love it so much as soon as the show is over. And also the laughter during the show, it sounds like there's a laugh track.
Did the show evolve, I guess how did it evolve from rehearsals into showing in front of an audience? I mean, Alex, can you speak to that?
Yeah, there was less laughter in the rehearsal room than there is in the theater. But it evolved through like pure collaboration, led by the collaborative maestro that is Alex Timbers, and he's not here. He won't leave it. Let's keep going. We'll tell him that you applauded, and then. But during the rehearsal process, he is much more interested in the actual playing than of the actual getting to the end of a scene, blocking the scene. We never came in with the intention of, all right, we're going to do scene 2, and if we don't get to it, we have failed. So we came in every day with new ideas, new script pages, improv, sketch stuff, talking for an hour about things, going away for an hour. It was never really, in a wonderful way, it wasn't really structured in the way I've ever done any show before. And I think that shows on stage because the show feels inherently dangerous, which I think is a super fun thing to see when you're watching something live. And that is something we carefully crafted in the room to make it feel that anything could happen. And if anyone was at the show last night, well, don't cheer, a 65-year-old woman passed out and vomited, but, but she's fine. And to all of you people, by the way, who say that we're not keeping our promise in the beginning of the show about if you die during the show, we won't stop.
Yeah.
No one has died yet, so if we are able to save a life during Beetlejuice, we will. But if they do die, we're just gonna prop them back up in a seat and keep going with the show because at that point they're luggage. It's going to be my last Broadway show.
Turning into a Weekend at Bernie's moment. So the creativity has just like crossed over the footlights and inspired fans to make literally thousands of TikTok videos. And actually, we have two that I will show you for you real quick. Let's roll 2 TikTok videos.
Ready? Okay. Hi, I'll be your guy. I'll be your GUID to the other side. Don't go to the netherworld. Netherworld? Did I say netherworld? Never mind. I'm the B to the W, JFD with Jesus. I can't spell. But you gotta say my name. I know your name. Well, I can't say it.
How about a game of charades?
Yes, let's play it.
2 words.
Okay.
Second word.
Right.
Drink.
No.
Beverage.
No.
Wine.
No.
Juice.
Yes.
Okay, first word.
Okay.
Bug.
No.
Ant.
Close but no.
Beetle.
Leslie, you're that's you. Yeah. Your
Who is on? Oh, there he is.
Oh yeah. You're very socially active with fans on TikTok now, right? Aren't you? Or other platforms?
TikTok, no, because I'm old and I still don't know how to use it. I'm looking to hire an intern to teach me. No, I'm not on TikTok. On Instagram, yeah, more than TikTok. But I'm learning. I'm not like our TikTok extraordinaire president.
Presley,
Who started the TikTok phenomenon with Beetlejuice? I mean, she's personally responsible for at least on our end. I would say I'll speak for the group of really starting that and then starting to teach a bunch of us and been so active, and we're very grateful for her because now she just got verified yesterday. She has 200,000 followers. But yeah, I'm active on Instagram with the fans as much as I can be. I did a Broadway.com vlog for 2 months. May come back, may not. I'll just throw that out there. But yeah, and that was I found personally by interacting with them on social media and with that are without really trying too hard. Like we weren't trying too hard. We were just loving our show and doing what we do, and the response is because of that. And also our album is so lit.
See, she thinks she's old. You just used the word lit, everybody.
It's one of the best albums, if not the best, that I've ever been a part of, and it's incredible how it's spread, and it's spread through really TikTok. I think personally, it's the music, and because it is a lot of music-based videos there. I mean, there's a lot of comedy and all kinds of stuff. Kids and young people were able to connect and create their own version of Beetlejuice in their own creative way, which is amazing. I mean, that didn't exist, a year ago? Like, as far as we know, a little over a year ago. So I'm impressed. I'm blown away by it.
Absolutely. I mean, this is unprecedented how social media has breathed so much life into Beetlejuice. And so, Callie, while you're drinking water, okay, so you work for Spotco. First off, what is Spotco, for those who don't know?
Yes, thanks for having me with the cast. This is amazing. And I will be your intern, Leslie, if you want. But I work at Spotco. Spotco is an advertising agency. So we've been around for about 22 years. Worked on over 450 Broadway shows. The first one was Rent. So we make all of the advertising for the show. So if you've ever seen a TV commercial or a billboard or a flyer or a social media video or anything like that, my company makes those.
And you are the senior creative director there. Obviously, Beetlejuice is one of your customers? One of my clients, one of my partners.
Partners,
okay.
My love.
And so when TikTok started to explode, what did you see an opportunity and capitalize on it, or is it like a circular sort of dragon chasing his tail sort of thing? How did this grow?
Yeah, I mean, this was one of the first shows where TikTok really exploded, and I work really closely with our social media team, and we didn't want to interrupt the conversation that was already happening because there was already so much creativity and amazing work happening on TikTok, and we didn't want to come in and say like, hey, check out our ad over here. We just wanted to help the fans make more stuff, and so it's really inspired us to create a lot of materials that provide new audio clips and things like that. Jenny actually had a great idea around Thanksgiving to put out a song called Dead Bird. It was awesome and got in the studio for us, and the real inspiration behind that was to give fans a piece of audio that they wouldn't have access to anywhere else, and then kind of sit back and see what they would do with it.
And they've done a lot with it. There's a lot of reactions. So, Jenny, you're credited as a line producer.
That's right.
Beetlejuice. So, what is a line producer?
I don't know. No, I was brought on to Beetlejuice to work with the producers of the show, and also with the creative teams to sort of liaise between sort of what was going on creatively in the room, and then what had to happen managerially. So I'm sort of like living in this kind of liminal space between art and commerce, and so I work a lot with the agency, Spotco, on both the social and the media, the advertising, and then I work sometimes with the company on promotional appearances, with the press team, and creatively with the team as well.
So, how involved with the original cast recording are you, or were you?
Well, the cast recording kind of was just, that was the producers of the album, so I just supported them.
Well, I guess like capitalizing on it.
And I work with the label, so
Yeah. So it's one of the most streamed albums of the entire 2018-2019 season. You guys have all listened to it, right? Yeah, okay. So why do you think the score has captured such a huge following though?
Well, I think the music's amazing, Eddie Perfect, ladies and gentlemen, and I think there's something about the album. I think what makes it so incredible, Leslie, is when I listen to it, I feel like I'm part of the show. I don't know if you have that experience because I've seen the show, but I imagine that if I was listening to it and I'd never seen Beetlejuice, or I'd seen glimpses of it, on the internet or whatever, I would really have a sense of what it was like to be part of it, or in it, or watching it. And I think that's what makes it so fun to listen to. Is that sort of what your experience of it is like, kind of? Yeah.
You're like, no, but can I say one thing? Just about that, to completely agree with your point, is that my favorite type of cast album is the one that sounds like the show that you saw.
Yes.
So I always love those versus the one that sounds like top 40 tracks of the songs and shows, which are good in their own right. They just don't, to me, tell the story. And I think our show tells a great story through the music and through the songs. And I think we didn't do a disservice to the album by trying to pop up or anything like that, or having been in the studio the days we recorded it, nobody was too precious with their performances because we are currently living them. We didn't do a cast album before or months later. We did it while we were in the thick of this real raw feeling of trying to still create it. So stuff on an album that's there forever, it was just stuff that was organically there that day. And to not try and capture lightning when we could, or try to capture it 19 times in a row is I guess what I mean, was a benefit because we got to just put whatever was out there and then leave and sort of leave it up to you guys to enjoy it or not. So thanks for not enjoying it.
I want to add just really quick because this is something that has just kept growing. I have so many people that are contacting me saying that they're buying tickets or whatever, their kids. There's a lot of musical theater people in here, right? A lot of people that are coming to our show, young people, are not like us. Do you know what I mean? They're falling in love with the album. We're reaching a whole new audience of people that are falling in love with musical theater because of this album. And that is really cool. Somehow, I have friends from high school that I haven't talked to in 15 years. Their kids are more than that. Their kids are not in theater. They're telling us about Beetlejuice. We gotta come. And they're not, they're like soccer kids or whatever, but they love this album. And the coolest thing is when I look out in the audience, and I know you guys have seen this, and we see people lip syncing to the lyrics. People, and it's so.
Only lip sync.
Only lip sync. Sorry, Jenny. I just wanted to add that.
Good, and I think the songs are super fun to perform. I mean, I'm sure that's your experience. So I think it's fun to do them at home. And I think that do-it-yourself quality of the songs is also imbued, as you were saying earlier, Alan, in all the making of the show. And that's what Tim Burton did with the movie too. Like it feels like something made in his basement.
It's reachable to the generation that saw the movie, that knows the movie from a while back, and then now, like you said, it's reaching a whole new generation that may have never. Yeah, it's reaching a whole new generation of people. I guess, show of hands, how many people have not seen the original movie? Wow. That's a lot of people. Well, I'm very impressed by the reach the show has had, and by, I guess, for the three of you, Leslie, Alex, and Kerry, I was going to go back to the social media thing for a second. You're very engaged, all three of you are very engaged with your fans and very engaged with connecting with people. Do you feel any sort of pressure to maintain that now that the show is so successful on social media?
Yes! No, it's not that. It's not pressure. I think that's the wrong word. It's that when you do something that people like, that's a positive, and because that's good for both people. As long as you're liking the thing that you're doing, if people enjoy the thing that you're outputting, that it doesn't get any better than that. So the more we do that, not just in the show but outside of the show, and make people happy in many different brains of communication, I think that's only good not just for a show but for a life. I think that's just more of a life thing. If you're doing a thing that you enjoy and other people enjoy it, don't stop doing that. That's a thing that I think is just fundamental. So it's not a pressure, it's a joy until it becomes a pressure, and usually it's not that. So it's always the exception to the rule when it becomes pressure to do something that you want to have to like to do. It doesn't feel right. So thankfully, you guys, you and millions of others have been super kind and wonderful for the most part. And there's always outliers, but for the most part, it's been the majority of people have been ridiculous and wonderful, and we enjoy seeing just rows of stripes and red dresses and wigs and people behind the wigs going, "Why did I have to sit behind the guy with the wig?"
People come to the show in full cosplay?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, you maniacs.
Do you have a favorite?
I love that it inspires people. People aren't coming in store-bought costumes.
Right.
They're taking the time and hand painting the stripes, sewing the costumes together. It's really inspired creativity, which I love. While we are big on social media, sometimes you want to put your phone down and get kids away from screens, and we get the fan art is incredible.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. You want to say something?
Favorite cosplay.
Do you?
Yeah, so one thing that I love seeing with the cosplay is, of course, people want to dress up like the characters from the movie, the iconic characters, but I love seeing all the people who are now dressing up as characters from the musical, and Alex's version of Beetlejuice with the 3D glasses and popcorn, and we had a costume contest at the theater, and we got a lot of Girl Scouts with arrhythmia, and one had 3D printed her own pacemaker, so that was my fave.
Props to that, whoever that is.
Oh my God.
Speaking of the difference between Alex's Beetlejuice and Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice, I want to show Animatic real quick. This is one of my favorite ones, created by Miles Cooper.
Hey folks, begging your pardon. Excuse me, sorry to barge in. Now let's skip the tears and start off the whole, being dead thing. You're doomed, enjoy the singing. A sort of damn of
Yeah, so this goes on for a full 5 minutes. And I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 5 minutes long.
The kid is amazing, by the way. He came to see our show, and that kid is like not only cool, but like so creative and continues to output this. He just did a Miss Argentina. He just did an Adelia one. Adelia.
Oh, yes, I reposted that, yes.
So that's one of the newest trends, because technology and animation and like everyone can just download Photoshop and download Adobe Motion, whatever it is. And like, are you seeing, like, Alex, what does it mean to you to see yourself represented as Beetlejuice all over the internet versus the traditional Michael Keaton?
Yeah, as a creative, anything, you want to try to put something out there that hasn't been there before, and that's really doubly difficult when you are working with the source material. So what I was grateful for was the opportunity to not be strong-armed into doing something that was already there, but to try and create something and attempt to be bold and to say, yes, this exists, yes, the cartoon exists, what if there was a third side to that cross, and what would it look like? And getting to the time, which is something that most performers do not, they're not afforded. When we had I worked on this show in character, and I'm still working on it, I'd like to think, that that's 3 years running, 3.5 years running, creating something. So the fact that it is not only being well received, but the fact that it's being like mimicked and for lack of a better word, applauded is nice, because I love the sort of the look I made a hat with, there never was a hat, but what I like better is that I've said this before, but I think it warrants, that to be given a pair of shoes that someone else has worn, but to be given permission to add your own laces is something I've become very fond of. Having the last 2 shows have had 2 sort of iconic roles to sort of try and skew away from while also paying homage to, has been a joy. But the fact that this one has blown up in its own character, as a character actor, nothing makes me happier and nothing lets me sleep more at night than people that have enjoyed my version, without having to hate the other one. I think that's the other thing. I do appreciate it, and as a creative entity, thanks for liking the thing.
Kerry also played, like we're both playing characters after iconic actresses.
Absolutely.
Gina Davis, Catherine O'Hara, but also Kerry, you've done Mean Girls, which had... It's been, I don't know about you, I'd love to hear your experience, but like, for me, I feel like very similar to Alex, always working on Delia. I stayed away from the movie because Catherine O'Hara is a queen goddess. And I followed her entire career, so I just, I pay a little homage to her at moments, but my Delia is like, I feel like there's 3 different versions of her, so I play the person that's seen the show 20 times. You've probably seen many different versions of her, and I do different versions of her from night to night, and Argentina too, there's little things, but it's been, I always felt safe in the room with everybody to create, to try, to follow my face, and we also gave each other suggestions. Why don't you try this, or what do you think about this? Like, that was the best part about getting in there, because we were all in the same position. But I don't know how you felt, Kerry, about yours.
Yeah, I feel like I do the same thing that Alex does. I don't watch the movie, because now I've done so many musicals that have been based on stars, and I play them, like Olivia Newton-John. So I won't watch the movie, because we're not Saturday Night Live performers.
No, we're not.
So we're not coming in and just imitating somebody else. We have to find it from within first. And then I'll go back and watch the movie and be like, oh, I can exaggerate that, and that will, all the people who love the movie will love that part. They'll still feel like this is the same show that they fell in love with, but they're able to accept our version. So we're not just trying to be somebody else. Because as an actor, you have to embrace what makes you special. You can't always be trying to be somebody else. Or try and copy what makes them special.
And then, I was just noticing as the 3 of you were talking that you're all very funny people. You're very on stage. You have these comedic roles that you do over and over and over again. And then, like, knowing you personally, and even right now during the panel, you're very serious people.
Yeah.
I think so, because I think you have to be very, very smart and very serious to be good at comedy.
This is me completely biting off of one of my favorite comedians. I would 100% slit my throat for my jokes. So they're that important to me, that's when you take comedy seriously, in my opinion, it works better. I think on the converse of that, though, I do like to say that when you're in it's stamina based too. This is not just stand-up comedy. So this is 8 times a week trying to be this funny that many times. Is about, sort of like it's trying what works, it didn't work, pull it back, turn the dials, all that kind of stuff. So yes, it's like a science and a math all wrapped up into one, and also doing like a decathlon while you're drowning. And then there's somebody, filming or whatever, and then, and then you're there to deal with that. But it's, that it is serious, but
I would say the room was not serious.
the room is not serious. We take it seriously.
Yes, but Alex would crack us up all the time in the room. Just
Thank you very much, Kerry.
Still cracks me up. I mean, still.
yeah, still on
to this day.
stage. Sometimes we're still fighting.
You guys break on stage?
Alex tries to make us break.
I break. I do.
That's not fair, Kerry.
He just knows that I'll break.
Yes.
And I just break. I turn up stage and I break. It's hard.
Can I say one thing that's recent, that if you've seen the show recently, that now you're never going to not see it? But at the end of the show, when Juno, no, this is not bad. It's not bad. When Juno, spoiler alert, is my mom, comes out and she started chastising me a bit before she goes towards Lydia. My mic is not on, and now I think it's a little on because the people are also enjoying it. I start crying like a teenager, and I'm right in the line of sight of Leslie. So when Juno's chastising me, just sort of right under her level, I'm going. And Leslie, for the last week, has had to literally turn up stage and put her head against the wall.
Cleaning my mouth is literally one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, we're like 300 performances in, and it's still like a ball to just try to have a little fun ourselves at the expense of you guys. Thanks for paying, by the way.
Just to piggyback off the serious thing is that we love what we do so much that we take it seriously because it's so important for us. I get really angry when internally sometimes, not all the time, but when I don't land certain things because they were written to be landed. And so when I can't land them, I'm not doing the show that I created, So I do take it seriously because I love the show so much, and the jokes are so well crafted, and we've worked within an inch of its life to make them work. So when they don't work sometimes, it is always a good lesson sometimes, and you're the judge, right? Like if you laugh, you laugh. If you don't. Jack O'Brien always said to me, laughter is because you're surprised. It's not because you're fun, you're not funny, it is, right? And that's what he would say to me all the time. I would beg to disagree sometimes, but it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be able to do comedy on Broadway. Like last night I ad-libbed one line and I didn't even, David Sugarman was like, maybe you should go out there and just be like, something happened, long story short, but I said an ad-lib and I was like, well, I tweaked it, I don't know if it's gonna land, and it landed. And to hear that laughter in the Winter Garden on a line that I never said, because it's an ad-lib, was a gift. It was like slam dunk. And oh wow, that's really, really, really cool. And I don't take that for granted, ever.
Alex, everyone's drinking, I'll ask you questions. Alex, do you ad-lib a lot too, or are you like...
No, I do not ad-lib a lot in the show. It's one of my favorite compliments I get is, and I think any good comedic actor would agree that a great compliment to get is, were you making a lot of that up? If I were to have to make a lot of that up every night, I would be 20 years older at this point, and have no voice. I mean, I'm so used to this show now that I would say 99.9% of what you're seeing on stage every night is written. But at some point in the last 4 years, in the room, something might have happened, while we were improvising something, or something came up out of nowhere and made people laugh, that then was implemented into the show smartly by our writers, so it didn't feel forced. And then our job is to make it feel like this is off the cuff and I'm just thinking about this. So it is cool that some of the stuff I did, the answer is yes, except 3 years ago. And now it's just, still paying dividends now because it is, thankfully funny, but also that's a muscle to stretch of like trying to pretend that you're just thinking of something now. And then, there's the errant version of, somebody's acting up in the front row, or somebody, which is rare. Last night, I pushed a dude's glasses case off the staircase because it was not supposed to be there. And then I picked on him all show. You've seen the show. Yeah. And so, but there are moments where I'm allowed to. That's the one fundamental difference between this show and any show that I've done, is that I do have a moderate, within very good reason, to improvise or something to go awry, or something goes off the rails audience-wise, or something technical happens. I'm thankful that I liked improv when I was a kid too, so I've been doing that forever. But yeah, it's nice to have the permission. But no, 99% of the show is scripted and on the tracks.
You improv when your mic is off.
I improv when my mic is not on.
Creepy old guy.
Yes, just to Kerry mostly. So watch out for that, guys.
Callie and Jenny, how are you looking for new social trends? Like, how are you looking for things that are coming out of the audience, out of the world? Like,
Callie? Well, I actually think we take a lot of our cues from the fans. I mean, I think Callie already mentioned that, but I think that, I've never been part of something where the creativity was so incredible, coming from the people who've seen the show or listened to the show or just want to be part of the show. So, okay. I think that's been a lot of what we've been taking the cues for, and we are constantly thinking about how to make, as we talked about with Ed Bird, we're looking for those moments where we can sort of inspire another, engagement, because we like having that opportunity to talk to y'all.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're really just watching what you all are doing on social and
Not creepy way.
No, in a creepy way. Yeah. And we're just we're kind of following along and going where you lead us. And I have a special announcement, in fact, about something new that's coming today, because we've been seeing that a lot of folks are on our Instagram, and you like to transform yourselves into the characters in Beetlejuice. So today we are releasing an Instagram filter on our stories. And you'll be able to go to our stories at Beetlejuice B-Way. You'll find an AR mask that transforms you into Beetlejuice. And insider tip, if you nod your head, it will rain beetles on you.
I think that's brilliant, and for a show like this, if I had your job, which I think is very cool, I think you would just be waking up and saying, what is new on my plate this morning? What has somebody else invented that we can just throw into this massive thing?
It's the most fun show to work on ever. Just getting to channel the characters that the cast have built and that the creative team have built, and basically trying to think like a demon is the best job in the whole world.
Well, and Callie, you just also wrote a great script for Delia too. That was coming soon.
Wait, what?
So Callie's a really awesome writer. She actually really is great at finding the voice of Beetlejuice the musical, and I have to give a shout out to Jen Rehearsal too, because she's really great at managing our channel.
It's legitimate the first time that Leslie just heard about this.
She's gonna love it.
Okay. So just a reminder real quick, if you have questions, hashtag Ask Beetlejuice B-Way. We're going to get to questions in a second. Fan art. The fan art that everyone makes. It is incredible. Alex, Kerry, Leslie, tell us about the wall of fan art.
It's now 3 floors of artwork. We're running out of space. It goes all the way up to the top dressing rooms. And you're showing some of them. And it's beautiful.
Yes, it's more art to keep up with. Every day we have mailboxes that get sent. We get everything you guys send, and it's more mail than I've seen anybody get on the planet. Not just me, it's more than Santa Claus. And it's like that, and we are sincerely running out of space. We have filled up 3 full floors of wall space with every bit and nook and cranny of art. That's not just pieces of paper, by the way. We've hung up puzzles that you guys have sent us, and coffins that open that have something, like the actual physical piece of art. It looks like a museum. And it's also just ridiculously inspiring when you are feeling 98% when you should be feeling 100, and you walk down the stairs and go, well, now I have to feel. I have no reason not to feel 100%. There's all these people that not only like what we do, but are willing to show it through their art. It just makes the show, as if it's not easy enough to do anyway for these ridiculous crowds, but it makes it so much more fun to do for people that are continually going to be inspired to create incredible, stuff I would buy. Truly, I've said that too. I won't, but I would, but I won't.
Yeah, it's like every time we walk down the stairs, it's a grueling schedule. You look at all this artwork and you're just like, wow, this is what you guys have created, this movement of love for us. And that's what makes us be able to do what we do, And even when we go to the stage door, see you guys, all the gifts you give us. This morning walking here, there was a whole line down the street of people dressed up waiting to buy tickets, and I'm like, I've never been a part of something like that, ever. So it's really cool, unexpected.
I want to throw this question out for any of you that want to answer it, but from a psychological standpoint, this is just a generic question. Why do you feel like people make fan art and then send it in? What is it? What purpose is it serving for them?
I've actually honestly thought about this a ton because I do have, this might split the room a little bit, but that's fine. One of my biggest pet peeves in the world is when somebody gives me something that is meaningful, and every time I've received something that is meaningful from a fan, I take it straight to my heart. It's something that you didn't have to do, and something that you did, and that's great. And nothing ruins that moment more than, can you please tweet about that I gave you this? Because then, it's not for me, it's for you. So, but that being said, I've thought a lot about the psychology of what it means to do something. I think that the purity of making something just because it's on your mind and you want to exercise it out onto whatever piece of art, that is the most gorgeous thing in the world because that's what I do. Because I do that on stage. I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to paint, I know how to do what I do, but I consider that some type of exorcism of feelings and emotions that I have that day walking into the theater, and I can get them out using art. So I appreciate it, and I'm with you on this level of making things because it just feels good to make. So yeah, I think psychologically it's because you feel good, and then when you have it and it's yours, you want to show other people. We're all narcissists and egotists. That's not a bad thing. It's good to like yourself, and it's good to want to let people know, look at the thing I'm good at. We love it. When we get it, we're all about it. We love it. So please, always, you psychopaths, please send them, all the drawings, all the, writings on your walls or whatever you're doing. Please, we are with you and we encourage it.
But I also think that the show embraces the strange and unusual, right? And I think there's something about sort of seeing a version of yourself on the stage, and we see that in a lot of different shows. We can name a ton right now. But I think the idea of being, again, making yourself a part of that by sharing your creativity and saying, I'm with you, and the show meant so much. You talk a lot about how you get letters saying the show changed my, whatever. That I found something in it that was deeply meaningful. So I think that's part of it too.
Yeah. I don't know why I said yeah.
No, I love that. I think I agree with it. I think it's a lot of seeing yourself represented on stage, whether it be in terms of gender identity or sexual identity or mental identity. I think especially now in today's society, it's very important to be able to see yourself, maybe you're feeling a little undead this morning. You just want to see yourself on a show.
Can I just say something about exactly what you just said about seeing yourself in something? Is that is what back all the way back in the day when they were doing shows where light was fire and everyone was still afraid of the sun. The thing about theater, and good theater in my opinion, is that it reflects the world around you. It doesn't harken back to a better time. I don't enjoy theater that does that because things are constantly evolving, and that's the thing I love about our show is that I don't think there is anything that isn't represented in our show in some way or another. And I think that that is the world we are now living in, this new time where people can really, truly, and you know, there's still work to be done, feel free enough to be themselves and express it in whatever way they want. That is legitimately a core value in our show. To be able to the search and the want to express in the way you want. And so that is a huge thing. I love that in theater, and I think the more Hangstowns that come out, and the more things that are continually trying to push that boundary to let people know, look, this is not only in this theater, this exists outside of here too. Get used to it. I think we're going to be in a much better place than, you know, like a revival of something.
Thinking we should just leave the fan art.
Well, speaking of which, the final question I have before we go to audience questions is, actually, let's talk about the sandworm in the room. Is Beetlejuice actually closing on June 6th?
We're not using the C word.
We're not using the C word.
We're being evicted.
Leaving the theater.
We're leaving the theater, and that is that is not coded language, just so all of you know that are like, yeah, evicted means they're closed. They are our producers, and they one right here, there's one over there, will tell you time and time again, if you ask them with absolute certainty, that all they are doing 24/7 right now is looking, and actively looking. Absolutely no reason to give up hope that we are closing. So we are not using that word. It's that we are looking for the next thing, the next evolution of the show, whatever that might be. So there's no reason to have, given up hope on the show. And also, as I like to say, just in case, June 6th comes along and it is the end, shows only do one thing. Sorry, they do two things, open and close. So there's nothing abnormal happening here other than the other thing. But yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, please. This is just, we keep saying it all the time, but now we have a huge platform right now with hundreds of people in here. It is that C word we're not using in our theater at all. We're not. I mean, we're also doing it. She vision boarded it, so it's true. But we all have very high spirits in our show for that reason. Is that we are all not just being told to tell you that we're closing. We're not. We are leaving on June 6th, and until we know anything further, it is not the end of Beetlejuice on June 6th. Truly. So,
It'll haunt the theater. It'll be fine. Okay, so let's switch over to audience questions here. Okay, from Jane Ann, NYC. Do you have a go-to pre-show meal snack? What about any rituals before you hit the stage?
I listen to stand-up comedy almost religiously, if not watching it. I also have the luxury now. I have a hair person, Leanne, and a makeup person, Pat, and a dresser, Travis, who are with me almost the entirety of an hour before the show. And I'm getting to not only watch stand-up that I've seen, but introduce them to comedians. So it's really fun to kind of also be a person to get to introduce something to your favorite people to your favorite people. And so that's what I do. I can't really eat before the show. If you've seen the show, you'll know why. I just drink a lot of water that comes out of my mouth a lot. Form of spit.
We also hang out a lot. Like, I warm up a little bit. Kerry will tell about her ritual, but I'll warm up, I'll hang out, I'll eat a little something. I've learned the hard way, never eat cauliflower rice before the show. It's terrible. But I hang out with people because I don't go into a show for 20-25 minutes. So I don't like getting dressed right away. I have to do my wig. I hang out with Pat. But I'm in Jill, Jill Abramovitz and Dana Steingold, who are in the show as well. I'm in their room we're in a sorority. I mean, it's crazy. And I hang out with them. We catch up with people. It's really the best part of coming to work for me, besides obviously doing the show, is that we have a family there. We have it's like college. We hang out, we talk, we catch up, we find out about each other's lives, what's going on. And that's one of my favorite things. That's the ritual, is checking in with everybody before we go make the magic. That's
Kerry sacrifices animals before every show.
Well, but I do sing to my plants. No, I take care of my plants, and I do like a 20-minute vocal warm-up every single day before the show, much to my neighbors, my dismay.
You sound great.
No, Adam Danheiser's right next to me. He doesn't love it.
He doesn't sing really.
And I sniff a lot of stuff up my nose, so does Leslie. Like I love,
You should clarify what you mean by Please clarify that.
I love salt water. I love the alcohol stuff that you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We just bought a new machine called the Navage, and it kind of is like a vacuum in your nose.
It's no joke.
Those are the things I'm obsessed with. But no drugs or anything like that. Except maybe Excedrin once in a while. My voice isn't feeling good.
Leslie, to comment on something on what you said, it is a family. The casts are very much a family, and I guess in interviewing as many people as I have, and the three of you included, on one-on-one, and I feel like so many people get to know each other on such a deeply personal level doing shows, because it's trauma's not the right word, but it is a heavily emotional investment.
Yeah, I mean, even though we are being evicted, June 6th, and I literally get choked up about it. Our front of house staff, our crew, we all know each other. We all know. I like going through the front door of the theater sometimes so I can say hi to Callie and Dave and John, our head usher, and our house manager, and all the ushers, and the bar staff, because I love saying hello to them. They're part of our family. A lot of them besides him will be there, and they'll take on the next show, so that part won't continue. But everybody in that building, our doormans, everybody is part of what makes it special. And that will be the hard part, is when that part is done. Because that part will be done with certain people that live on in that theater. And they will embrace, the next show. But for me, it's this show more than any other show I've done. I really feel like the best part of coming to work is the people in the show and the crew. It's a special, special group, and it lives in there. And we make sure that continues. We really, it's important to us, and you guys can speak to this too, that the vibe and the energy of that building, that's important to us. And we try really, really hard to keep it that way. Even, and it's hard, 8 shows a week. It's not easy, but at least that's for me. People come to my room. My room's become like a central mission control sometimes. I don't know why. There's 10 people piled in my
Biggest room in the
and maybe it is. I don't know.
Most people, yeah. All right.
It was in her contract. She wouldn't do the show unless she had the biggest dressing room.
An A customer.
All right, let's do another question.
I don't know.
From Dr. Lazarus, what was the most shocking gift a fan has sent you guys?
You guys.
I have one and it's they're all nice but shocking certainly. I was gifted 2 that I found out later, very expensive rings. That was like, here's a gift for your wife. I was like, I don't feel. So then I just got rid of the sort of the card, and I went home and I went, look what I bought you. There's the laughter. That is the most shocking. Can I say one thing that will take 30 seconds again, just while I have you all here? Gifts are awesome, and they're really, truly wonderful, and some of it's super creative, and the art stuff is meaningful the most. If you have, spending money on stuff is fine, but make sure that know that we also make money. So we are very happy to buy our own things and stuff like that. So we're good as far as essentials go. We much prefer. I would much prefer. This is the Jewish mom in me. I'd much prefer that you save your money and just send us a letter saying you like us, rather than a diamond ring. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, you feel free to disagree, but I don't like that. So I would prefer a letter that's meaningful than whatever. Another Beetlejuice shot glass, which is we have 70,000 of them. I just want to make sure that it's meaningful, but please save your money for your own lives. We make money.
Leslie, Kerry, do you guys have shocking?
I can't think of one either.
All right, next question. Favorite celebrity who came to see the show? From Olivia saw Beetlejuice.
We just had a good one last night.
We sure did.
So Leslie and I both love the B-52s.
Yeah. I just got the picture. I just saw them when we got the picture.
And the lead singer, Kate Pearson, is there. Leslie and I were like in the hallway saying,
I mean, yeah, it was amazing to meet her, and she was so cool. Like, we've been able to meet all these amazing people. You guys see, right? I mean, Catherine O'Hara was a big. That was so cool.
My favorite, only because he's not only great, but he's also a Beetlejuice lifer, just like you guys, is John Mulaney. He's been such a fan because of he knew Alex Timber Schmo Hello, and him and Nick Kroll have been had seen all the readings prior, like just in the studio, and so they've just been such fans. And John was at opening night and brought his wife, and they've been back I think 4 times total. So that was a big one for us, just because it's so cool. They just don't want to come back anyway. And then a personal one for me, only because I want to model my career after his, is Adam Scott. Came to see the show. And just getting to chat with those people, that's the huge perk of the job. You just get to like actually chat on a level that's not like, I like what you do. They get to go, I like what you just did. You go, yeah.
Do the 3 of you ever get starstruck?
Yes.
I would only get starstruck by one person. If someone told me that Mel Brooks was in the audience, I would have a very hard time pulling myself together before going on. That would be maybe Carl Reiner as well, but just the 2 of them would be it. And everyone else, no, I don't care.
Carol Burnett would be mine. If she came, I'd lose. No one can ever tell me that she's there. So, and if I have a personal day, you better tell me to not come to work that day and not tell me why. So yeah, that would be mine.
I don't know who my person would be, but I don't like to know when any celebrities are in the audience.
We both don't like that.
Yes, because I feel like I give 100% no matter what, and if they're there, then I'm gonna be like, did they laugh at that? How really did? And like,
Kerry, tell them what we do. Right before.
Oh, creepy old guy. We're like, our show's pretty much done, so then we tell each other.
That's when we find out. We're like, hey, Kate Pearson's here. And Kerry's like, what? Yep, that's when we usually
Awesome. All right. Another question? From Jordan is at BroadwayCon. We're all changing their Twitter names here. If you could switch roles with anyone, who would you switch with? Please tell Kevin I say hi.
I will tell him. He's sleeping right now. He sleeps like a stoner.
I would do Liddy. I just want to sing Dead Mom and Home. I just want to do that one time. I've actually thought about singing it I would do it in a second. I mean, I look like crazy, but 42-year-old daughter. But yeah, she sings some amazing songs, so I'd love to do that. It'd be fun.
Otho. Mainly because he has a 45-minute break in the show.
Other ones. Beetlejuice.
Who wants to see her go on tonight? The fans have spoken.
Kerry, no, I want to make you say the F word, but what would Kerry be like doing? Be like, what is gone?
I want to hear your best Beetlejuice voice now.
Do a line.
Do a line. What's a line?
I don't know. I don't do Beetlejuice. Hey, both.
Welcome to BroadwayCon.
We should do it one night and just raise money for a charity and just all switch. And scene, not gonna happen. Hey guys. Fuck you guys. Within 4 hours after that, we gone.
All right, we have 2 minutes left. Let's do one more question. All right, from Rob Johnson. Have you ever been in a show where the set is so much like another cast member, like this is with the house set?
Thank you for the run-on sentence.
All right.
Oh, I get it.
I get it too.
Where the set is so much...
Definitely not.
Oh, where the set is so much other cast
The
member.
set is a cast member.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
I've never been in one, but I think the play that goes wrong is one of my favorite things I've seen. That show would not be a show were it not for that set that literally falls apart completely by the end.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but no, I think our show is just designed, again, within an inch of its life, to become a character in the show that changes and evolves, and just like everyone in the show. I think it's amazing.
A cool part of rehearsal too was they would like be improvising a scene or something, and then they'd be like, can we get the set to do this? And then they would go and brainstorm and think, right? Like, oh, maybe we can get the set to do this.
Yeah.
Can we budget it?
And it did. Okay, so that is all we've got. bpn.fm/TTP for the theater podcast. You can hear my individual interviews with these 3 episodes. 50 to 54 are these 3, plus Alex Timbers, plus William Hyman Long. Oh, you don't want to go yet. We're about to do something.
Oh, don't go.
Go see them before June 6th. And because this show is so much about social media, we're going to do a giant audience selfie.